Hi everyone, I'm Jill,
And I'm Alice.
and this is Waterfront Wednesdays, brought to you by Boston Harbor Now. So, why are we starting with a barn today?
Because of the sign. It's the perfect sign.
If you want to find rabbits in Boston Harbor? Great.
Or no. It's actually a sign at the Fairfield County Fairgrounds in Lancaster, Ohio, near where I grew up. But it's got some really key elements that I want to talk about today relative to ferries and how we think about getting around on the waterfront. So it has a building name that's really clear. What's there? Rabbits. It's got a symbol that tells you what you're looking for if you didn't know how to read, you're a little kid. It has a building number that makes it easy to find if you're looking at a map. And it happens to have the date of the building.
Okay, but help me connect the dots and bring me back to ferries.
I want to help people make it easier to find ferries. If you think about the first time you're using a new mode of transportation and what that experience is like, let's think about like the first time you took the commuter rail from Providence to South Station, or vice versa. What was that experience like?
So I knew where to find the train station. I walked in, there's a big board, it's got a lot of time displayed, it tells me my track. Usually I board from the same track, but I like to check anyway. And so once I know that, I walk my track and I'm off to Providence.
And how do you know what track it is?
The board tells me.
Has a number?
Has a number on the screen and then there's a number on the actual track.
Right. This is how good transportation signage should work. It's super friendly for new users. And I saw a lot of this when I visited San Francisco last fall. So the very first ferry I took was from Oakland to downtown San Francisco. Okay. And there's this huge structure on the waterfront. And I can see it whether I'm walking along the water or I'm coming from the street. And the iconography isn't very good. There's like a little tiny San Francisco ferry logo up in the cupola you can see. Not super visible, but I know something is there and I should walk towards that something.
Okay, so it's hard to imagine something that big in Boston Harbor. So what else did you notice?
Well, when you get to the San Francisco Ferry Building in San Francisco on the waterfront, and let's start with the fact that there's a ferry building and it has really good food and this little bookstore. It's so good. Anyways, you walk out and there's one place where boats leave from and it's really clear what to do there. Where do you buy tickets? Tickets.
Right.
Where is the boat going? It goes to Tiburon and Sausalito. Just such clear fonts and signage.
So is that the gate for all the ferries?
Nope, so that's just where the Golden Gate ferries leave from. Okay. There are also San Francisco Bay ferries, and they leave from other places. Typically, they're assigned to a gate, and each gate says gate whatever. And it's not super clear in this picture, but next to the gate is a schedule, so you can walk up to that gate anytime and sort of see when all the boats are leaving from that dock.
Cool. So if we were to have that experience in Boston Harbor, what's that like?
Well, so the easiest boats to find are the MBTA boats. If you're looking for an MBTA boat, there's that big T logo, which is familiar for anyone who takes the bus or the train or the ferries around this area. So if you want to take an MBTA ferry, you've got to go find that T logo. The kind of confusing thing, though, is that on one side of Long Wharf is the boat to Hingham and Hull, on the other side is the boat to Charlestown. You don't necessarily know which is which, but you've got that T logo to tell you you're in the right place for the MBTA ferry, assuming you're not actually supposed to be at Rose Wharf.
Right, and I have a story about that. So my first time, I was brand new to Boston and I was trying to find the Charlestown ferry. I walked all around Long Wharf. I think I even asked people, like, where do I go?
Right.
And like, sadly for me, I never actually found it. So I gave up halfway through and I said, forget it, I'm just gonna hop in an Uber and make it to Charlestown. So what about other ferries besides my tragic story?
Yeah, so like I mentioned with some of the more touristy boat services, when you have a place that you only go for one special thing, there's usually great signage. And my favorite example is the EDIC dock. It's down on the reserve channel near where the cruise ships leave from. But there's a huge sign that tells you when you're at the Thompson Island Ferry. It just says it. You know exactly where you are, you're in the right place. And that's really reassuring.
So think about the last time you went to the airport, whether you took the bus or you took an Uber, there is clear signage from the highway that tells you here's the terminal for this particular airline. As soon as you get off, there's signage pointing you to the gate. So every step along the way, it's sort of guiding you to the exact right place to where you're never really sort of doing this and confused.
Yeah, just like I said, you always have that gate number to consistently help you in an airport. And two, if you're in a really big international airport versus a really small local airport, there's a different amount of signage that's needed to help you navigate. So, for example, the single ferry dock in Hull probably doesn't need a lot of differentiated wayfinding signage, the way that it would help to have a little more on Long Wharf.
So, if you were to envision big changes for Boston area ferry docks in the future, what would that be?
I mean, like I said, it's that clear, visible signage. This is where you buy your tickets. This is the gate you're departing from. This is where you can go from that gate. In the long term, it'd be great to have recognizable branding that is something for ferries in the region, regardless of who's operating them, regardless of who is part of that system, because there's a lot of different players in ferries around Boston Harbor. I also have some ideas about how fare structures could work and fare media payments, and I also have some ideas about Harbor Walk signage, but we can do that in a future episode.
More episodes to come. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you the next Waterfront Wednesday.
Check us out on Twitter @HarborHorwood.
At Ferry Ferry. We'll see you on the harbor.